The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard.
The last round at Brands Hatch saw the Socks Out drivers struggle to keep the yellow fever away. The difficulty in wielding the power and weight of these trucks on tight winding road courses became all too apparent. But with the championship coming to a close in just 2 rounds, keeping the mistakes away will be all the more important here at Donington Park. The close fight for the crown could become even closer as we get ready to watch round 8 of the Socks Out Racing V8 Supertrucks live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak. With me in the booth once again is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, any 90s F1 fan is likely to get stars in their eyes at the mention of Donington Park. Thoughts of Senna in the Rain in '93 quickly get brought up anytime this course shows up on a schedule. It's a place with history, but it's also usually a track that puts on some incredible racing. Tell us a little bit about it.
Joe, I encourage everyone to Google Senna 93 Rain Donington, because that is classic and a true display of driving at this classic facility. Joe, you know, they started racing here right around the turn of the century, the 20th century, that is, and really historic grounds. It was dormant for a long time. They brought it back to life in 1931, and it went dormant again, and they brought it back to life in the 70s, and man, they've been racing here ever since, and racing hard. We got a great track, 2.5 miles around the circuit, 11 turns. We're going to do 25 laps today. Temperature not too bad, 67 degrees outside, 72 degrees on the track, partly cloudy skies. Joe, it's going to be a really fun trip around today, watching these trucks get around. Let's take a look now at our very own Amjad Yaman taking the NASCAR Camping World truck around for a lap here at Donington Park.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Silverado, so let's do a lap around Donington. Coming up to Redgate, you've got a good place to pass, but as you line up the corner, be careful not to cut into the pit exit lane. You've got a very late apex here, so resist the urge to turn in too early. As you get to the power, you'll find the cranial curves pretty tricky in the truck. Fast hands and a gentle right foot will be valuable through here. Make sure and hold to the left at the bottom of the hill to give yourself the best entry into the old hairpin. You've got a little strip of paved runoff on the outside just in case you run it a bit wide. Under the bridge and back up the hill once again, you'll find the truck wants to leap out from under you. It's a dance between speed and control. Straighten out the entry into McLean's and try your best to get the nose to reach that apex. The crest makes it tough to hit. Another short burst and then slower up for Coppice, which is a corner of 2 halves. The first part is very blind and much sharper, but then the corner widens on exit. Balancing the car on the throttle will be the work of masters as the drivers try to get as much speed down the backstretch as they can. That'll be important because now the truck drifts to the right before braking hard for the S's. This little chicane will be easy to blow, so expect a few cut course penalties during the race, but that won't stop drivers from trying to outbrake each other anyway. From here, the track has a gentle rise and bend to the left before you throw out the anchor once more from Melbourne. This is a good chance for an overtake, but make sure your opponent doesn't pull the over-under on you because you got one more hard braking zone ahead with Goddard's. The turn-in is tricky with the crest making the apex hard to spot. Obviously, that'll give you a good case of understeer too, but the power of these trucks means oversteer on the exit will be just as likely. Hopefully, you kept it pointed forward and you finished a lap around Donington. Amjad doing a great job of wheeling that truck around here. He's a trooper, having been stuck in some unusual combinations for these lap guides sometimes. But before we talk some more about the track, let's go to the championship situation and see where that sits. What are we looking at for the Drivers' Championship currently, Sean?
Well, Challoner sitting up there really clean right now with 159 points. Mika Eshouse, I believe, is not here today, not going to make the race today, sitting back 5 points, back just behind him. Carl Martin, Corey Lindsey got third place, locked up, 18 points back, and Also tied back there for 4th and 5th, that's going to be Howard and Cockrell. 29 points back at Challoner. Not much time to get it done, though, Joe. Running out of races.
Yeah, I was going to say it's extremely tight all the way up through the top 5 there, so guys will have to try and make sure they make as little mistakes as possible to make the best of this. There is also the Oval versus Road Championship in the series, and if you're new to the Sox Out Racing V8 Supertrucks, the way they do this is they have drivers at the start of the season determine if they want to drive for the road team or the oval team. The top 2 finishers in each team have their points averaged out at the end of each round, and that is their score for that round. So, after we have, with only 2 to go, actually, it is currently 286 points for road, 237 for oval. Oval is really going to have some good results here to take the road versus oval championship before all is done. And as the clock ticks down, we have about 8 minutes left of qualifying, although they have a limited number of laps, only 4 solo laps that these guys can do out there, so they've got to get it right. Let's talk about some of the stories of the race that we need to watch out for today. There's going to be a few places to pass. There's definitely some opportunities in these trucks with the long braking zone, Sean. Where are you looking at the places most likely for guys to try to send one up the inside?
Well, I think certainly the trip down Wheatcroft, down the home straight there across the line, getting into turn 1 at Redgate, very, very tough turn there, but you'll see a good passing opportunity there. Of course, your run to start that off of Goddard's, the end out of that last hairpin, that's going to be very important. I think another spot that you'll see a great opportunity, obviously the straights on this track, because of the truck and the nature of its ability to draft, the long straights at Starkeys and at Wheatcroft are going to be those best opportunities. The elevation changes along the back of the course are going to be pretty tricky. Truck's going to be tough to control there. I look to see them maybe be a little careful back there. So look for those great opportunities on the front side of the course, out of the S's and down to the Melbourne hairpin. Should be a good opportunity for a last great pass before you head into the end of the track there at Goddard's.
So we'll see who is brave under the brakes in these trucks to try and get it done, and who is actually good under the power. And that's the other big story, I feel like, Sean, that will determine how this race plays out, is who has that proverbial egg under the gas pedal. Because it seems like we saw in the lap guide, guys really struggle to get the power down without much weight on the back of these trucks.
Yeah, the torque, such a big issue with these NASCAR Camping World trucks. You talk about the lack of weight, and I love that egg theory. You don't want to break the egg. You have to take care of the egg. You want that egg so you can throw it in the pan there at the end of the race and use it responsibly. So don't break the egg. Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. Really, it's going to be an adventure in throttle management today. Only those who really have mastered rolling in and out of it are going to be the ones to watch for speed here today. Every time you make that mistake, it's going to cost you, and it may even cost you more than you want. You're only going to get one free repair today.
Indeed, they have one free repair, and there is a 21 incident limit. So around these 25 laps, these drivers will have to keep it clean or they will be disqualified. Now, if you want to see what it's like from the driver's point of view trying to wield these machines, we do have 2 live streams happening at the same time from 2 of our drivers, Justin Krutoff and Josh Mertz. If you'd like to go and check those out, we will have links in the description. So go give them a look and see what it's like from inside the cockpit. Now, the one driver that everybody is kind of keeping an eye on is Challoner, and he's on a bit of a streak, Sean. He's on, let's see, is it 3 wins? Actually, might even be 4 wins in a row at this point. There's quite a few that he's managed to rally back after that terrible performance in the first round that we unfortunately didn't get to broadcast.
Yeah, well, definitely he's looking to bounce back. But Challoner already shown in practice today pretty strong here. I wonder he may be a hard truck to catch there in that Blackadder Motorsports Toyota truck, Toyota Tundra. Challoner, again, based on what we're seeing in practice, he's going to be a tough guy to catch. If he gets away from the field and shows the ability to do that on every restart, if we get cautions, I think this is a good track for them to spread out a little bit. So they may have a chance of cutting down the cautions this week, and if so, it's going to be tough to catch Challoner.
And you want to talk about versatility. The UK&I driver has recently gone from the Kia over at the Nürburgring here to this Tundra at Donington. Very different handling cars. In fact, one is rear-wheel drive, one's front-wheel drive, so that's got to be quite a bit of a transition. He's got to be an incredibly adaptive driver to be able to perform as well as he does. Other than that... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, bringing that point up, the difference between the front-wheel drive and then getting into the rear-wheel drive, how you put the power down, I mean, it's totally different. Now Nürburgring obviously presents its whole set of challenges. We know all about that. And not like this course, but again, how you put the power down is so important. The difference between that front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, it's really no comparison at all. It's a tough adjustment to make on the fly.
Well, and I bet these truck drivers are extremely grateful to be here at Donington with the difficulty in handling these trucks, because you talk about the hardness of trying to race at the Nürburgring. I feel like this is quite different in the way that you've got these wide expanses of grass and gravel here, where if you make a mistake, the wall isn't as close. So I think they'll have a little bit of leeway, even though we might see a few trucks off course.
Watching Challoner out there dirt tracking it a little bit right now. Yeah, the runoff is going to help him, and maybe you don't get into that fast repair today, or you keep it in your pocket for the right time. So we've certainly seen that happen before. Not a bad strategy to play. If you get a little bit of damage, keep it in your pocket. If you're not that bad off, you can save it for when it's time to make the charge. Now, with only 25 laps, there's not too much strategy to talk about, Joe, because it's going to be hammered down. Let's go and get this thing done. But how you get that hammered down and how close you decide to race into some of these braking zones is, it's going to be the determining factor of the race for sure.
Now, speaking of keeping that spare car in your pocket and running into trouble, we ran into quite a bit of trouble at Brands Hatch. There was a lot of cautions. Do you think we're going to get many of them today with the wide open expanses? Do you think the marshals will be pretty lenient as far as throwing those?
I don't think we're going to see as many of those today. I really don't. I think this track lends itself to some really good racing. I think you're going to see them spread out just a bit, get in line, and pick their opportunities in draft on those long straightaways that we talked about here when we were leading into this.
Just about a minute and a half left in qualifying. A few drivers yet to put in laps. I see Pete Costanzo and Carl Martin out there with no laps put down, and they are currently running. Carson Aube has no laps. However, I don't think he's going to have enough time to get a lap in, since he is not moving at the moment. Other than that, we've got 17 cars who have put a time in. Waiting to see just the last few where they wind up before we kick it off to the grid. As you watch the number 777 of Carl Martin from Georgia work his way up towards Coppice. Or excuse me, that's that is Coppice, I think. And a big moment, though, that he had coming down onto Starsky straight. I'm amazed he kept that thing together.
I've got my eyes on Pete Costanzo right now, just getting out of the S's. Nice line through there. You really want to kind of just hit it straight through there.
Let's see if he got it clean. He kind of drifts toward the middle of the track there, headed into Melbourne. Unusual line.
Think he's going to run out of time, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get to the line here. We'll see if it gives him the extra bit of time. Yep, nope, it gives him about 3 seconds, and he's just shy. Oh, that's got to be frustrating, but that is going to solidify our grid. Poor Pete Costanzo. Christian Challoner, unsurprisingly, is on the pole. Brian Howard will round out the front row. Then you've got Justin Krutoff starting in third with Ben Warren in fourth. Sergio Hernando is going to start in the 5th position with the 3rd row rounding out with Martin Capal. Clifton Cockrell will start in 7th with Cedric Finzak in 8th, Josh Mertz in 9th, and Sean, we've got Daniel Thompson rounding out the top 10.
All right, there, and then starting on the inside there in 11th, that's going to be J.J. Rimmer in a number 69. Bart Workman in the 09 starting 12th. Sky Willis in the 116, 13th. James King, number 23, starting 14th today. Justin Davis in the 82, starting 15th. The 916 at Doc Stout, 16th. Aaron Stowe, the number 99, 17th. Carl Martin not getting that qualifying lap in. Will start 18th. Tough break there for Costanzo. He'll start 19th in the number 113. And Carson Albe going to run up the field without a qualifying time. 20th place, the number 94.
And looking at Aube's practice time, he had a 1:45.2, which is way off the pace. So maybe there's reason that he decided to start from the back of the grid, which you can see lining up there now down Starsky Straight right before the S's. And then we will get running for 25 laps here in the Sox Out Racing V8 Supertrucks. And you're watching it live on the Global Sim Racing channel. I am excited to watch these guys run here. We've had a hell of a time calling these things, Sean, but this one especially, just judging by how the trucks have been handling, I'm very curious to see how these guys are going to make it around.
That first trip through Craner, it's going to be fun, Joe.
Especially if anybody's side by side.
They'll be heading downhill right there into the old hairpin, and yeah, that's going to get exciting quick. That'll probably be exciting in the pace lap. Although,
yeah.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. They start here at the S's. Excuse me. They start here at the S's, and they'll begin their pace lap down to the hairpin.
Short pace lap here at Donington Park for iRacing. Also, a big hello to all of our fans on iRacing Live joining us. Welcome to the Sox Out Racing V8 Supertrucks. You are in for a treat as the pace car works his way around Melbourne. Then one more corner around Goddard's, and we get to go racing. This is also going to be very interesting, especially if we have any restarts, because the tail of the field should still be coming around the hairpin when they get the green. Let's see how Challoner does when they get the green flag. There we go. Gets a decent jump, actually gets a great jump on 2nd place Warren. In fact, he is slipping all the way down to 3rd, might even go to 4th. We got a couple trucks jockeying for position, trying to get in the red gate, couple 3 wide in the back, and a car is tipped. That is number 42 of Daniel Thompson, but he doesn't hit anything and he keeps it going forward.
Yeah, Thompson's still under power. A little bit of trouble there, but Thompson's good.
Meanwhile, everybody's starting to get single file as we head under the bridge. Now up to McLean's, and Challoner already starting to give himself a gap, almost a second ahead of 2nd place Krudoff. We got a battle for 3rd, and who was that? Cockrell getting very, very sideways up through McLean's. I think we're going to see a lot of sideways action throughout the day as Cockrell once again trying to hold on to it, sliding through the second half of Coppice.
Oh, Josh Mertz off the course, through the dirt, there at the S's. He missed it. No contact with anybody.
He gave that corner a complete miss. I'm impressed that he didn't hit anyone as he almost gets into the side of
when he's
Doc
tracking
Stout.
out there. Josh Mertz having all kinds of trouble there, Joe.
Yeah, almost said, "What's up, Doc?" But thankfully, nobody made contact as Stout goes a little bit wide through Goddard's, but manages to hold on that 10th position. So our order after lap 1, Challoner leading, Krutoff 2nd, Ryan Howard 3rd, Sergio Hernando in 4th, and Cockrell in 5th.
And Joe, they've already spread out all the way to the back of the field here. Single file all the way around. Now it's a challenge to see who can hang on to it and when do the passing opportunities start to begin.
Let's go to James King, who is right on the back of Mertz. This has not been Josh's day. They head up the hill towards McLean's. Don't think he's close enough to try and sneak one up the inside. Mertz even covers him off, but he goes a little bit wide. He might get a bad exit. Unfortunately, it looks like King doesn't get a decent one either, so they're going to stay in line. Mertz in 11th, King in 12th.
Yeah, and I think King maybe senses that it's not his day, and he wants to get around him real quickly, but truck just in front of him, off pace, Martin Koppel.
Yeah, and Kapal had some help. He got bumped by Sky Willis just ever so slightly and went off into the dirt. Oh, and actually, was that Sky Willis off? No, that's Doc Stout.
Doc Stout, yeah. He hit it hard. Front end damage on that truck. It hit the inside retaining wall.
That was coming out of the S's. These trucks really not made for chicanes. Looks like the rear end just wanted to come around, coming off the corner. Watching it one more time. We'll see from above. Just gets a little bit of oversteer on that exit. Oof, that was a hard hit to the inside. He is down to 19th now, only ahead of Carson Aube. Let's go back to James King once again, still hassling Josh Mertz as they hit the old hairpin. Mertz with a terrible exit off the corner, but King has nowhere to go with the way the track weaves. He has to back out of it. Mertz gets a little bit squirrely under braking, manages to keep it together, and still he holds back King, and he's got a bit of a truly train going here, Sean.
He certainly does. Tell you what, Sky Willis trying to set up Ben Warren for a move right now. Sky been working on that for about a lap and a half. Through the S's. Both of them clean. Kapal a little bit off pace still.
Oh, and there was a cut course, I think, for Ben Warren as he gives up the position. So notch one more for...
Oh, there it is.
Oh, and wow, big moment for Kapal behind them, almost losing control. So add one more to Sky Willis, that's 7th place for her. It's awesome to see her wheeling these trucks around here. We're used to seeing her in the MX-5 World Tour in the past. A little bit of a lighter car. We've already seen she is not afraid to mix it up. A little bit behind them, side by side, as James King is trying to get around Finzak. He gets it done ahead of him. He's got Mertz finally making a mistake around Redgate. He gets by. Mertz is under threat now by 2 cars. It's Carl Martin and Cedric Finzak. They're trying to get it sorted out as the Frenchman comes up the outside and can't quite get it done around the old hairpin.
Mertz having a little trouble back there in Redgate, like you said, off in the grass. Able to gather it up and get back on course.
Seems to be the story of the day is keep from making mistakes and you can make up positions if everybody around you falters. Here we see Mertz now down into 11th.
Ben Warren able to get that position back from Sky Willis. Warren back up to 7th.
The fight continues, and this time Warren does not get a slowdown. However, Sky Willis was terrible off the corner. She goes defensive on Martin Kapal. Paul tries to look around the outside. Is he going to go for the over-under? No, he does not. Gives the inside to King behind him. We've got another battle behind them as well with Carl Martin and Josh Mertz going hammer and tongs. Oh, and Martin completely misses that corner.
Yeah, Warren definitely completely missed it. Here comes Sky Willis. Go to the replay on board. Well, no. Stay with the battle. Sky on the outside. Warren holds. Oh, here comes Kapal to the inside.
But look at Willis thread the needle.
Willis just put the power down, Joe.
Oh my goodness, that was a brave move to both chop off one car and duck under the other in the same moment and get herself a position. So, move Sky Willis back up to 7th once more. Let's see if she can hold it this time. Ben Warren is under threat from Kapal. He might have to worry more about that than trying to take the position back. Kapal almost getting to the back of Warren. And behind Kapal, we've got King as well threatening. Kapal looking to the inside of Warren, down into Coppice, backs out of the move.
Kapal already providing us with several big moments in this race, side by side. Kapal now.
It's not over yet. Kings to the outside. Down into the S's. It is not too wide through here. He backs out of it wisely. Tries to set himself up for the exit. Gets a decent run with, once again, Martin just squirming under the power of these trucks. But they run out of track by the time they hit Melbourne. A little bit of contact behind them as we get a little bit of a stack up. I believe that was Mertz, Finzak, and Davis possibly who made contact with one another. Oh, and Mertz is well off. Around Goddard's, he loses one position. He might lose a second position. Justin Davis to the outside, coming down into Redgate.
Mertz really having trouble with Goddard's. That's the second time in a row.
Unfortunately, Davis is denied as he comes around the corner, but he gets the power down, trying to hold off Carl Martin behind him, who takes a look, coming through crater curves, single file down into the old hairpin, and Martin early on the brakes to give himself some space.
Sky Willis really starting to get into a groove, Joe, starting to pull away just a bit. Got some work to do, though. The front of the field, Challenger leading him, pulling away from everybody.
Indeed, let's stay on this, but our closest battle up at the top is Krutoff versus Howard. That's for second place, about half a second between those guys at the moment. We continue to watch Carl Martin being hounding, Justin Davis. And Martin doesn't look very confident on the brakes when he's in traffic here. He gives plenty of space. It sounds like this P2 battle is heating up a little bit more. Howard closing in down into Redgate, trying to see what he can do with Krutoff. There you see Howard in the Hawaiian Punch orange machine, Krutoff in the blue and black truck just ahead. Goes defensive down into the old hairpin. Doesn't hurt his line too much though. Looks like Howard might even be dropping off ever so slightly. He's lost a tenth this lap. 2 tenths now.
This race has turned into a series of 2-truck battles. Cedric Finzak, James King having one of those battles right now. They've been switching back and forth positions. Finzak with the advantage right now in 9th place.
Yes, Finzak. Oh, and the caution is out. Let's see. Looks like maybe Justin Davis.
It was Carl Martin got involved in that with the 82.
And Josh Mertz as well. So all 3 cars involved in that. Looks like it started with, let's see if we can get a replay of that. It's about 30 or 40 seconds ago, it looks like that Justin Davis just got into the side of Mertz coming through Coppice, and unfortunately with them being slowed up, Carl Martin had no place to go. Here you'll see it right here.
Yeah, and Martin's going to get a little bit of damage on the right front of that machine.
I really feel for Martin as we hop on board Davis's replay. And that could have been 2 positions for him if he just could have squeezed a little farther inside. There you see the contact. That started to tip that truck on the outside around, and from there, it just was an accordion effect with all 3 of them piling together.
Yeah, side by side right there through the turn. Not exactly ideal conditions. We talked about trouble spots, that being one of them. Side by side again, did not work out there at all.
That crest makes it so tough to get the truck woed up as it starts to get light. Well, all that action, we didn't get a chance to stop. We are already 8 laps into this race, this 25-lap race. And Christian Challenger is still your leader since the start. Justin Krutoff had a great start at the line, and he is in second place. Brian Howard holds down third. He's been trying to pry it away from him, but unsuccessfully. Sergio Hernando, we haven't really talked about him, and I'm trying to remember if we saw him in the previous races. I think Sergio may be new. This is a great showing, if so, up into 4th, and Clifton Cockrell had a few scary moments early on, but he's managed to hold on to that 5th position.
Well, definitely an exciting start to this race. We were able to get 8 laps down before we hit that first caution flag. And, boy, we again saw some great battles. Trucks really getting after it. A lot of position changes, side-by-side battling. Tell you what, I've got to be honest, the struggle down here at the Melbourne hairpin is real. And several drivers having trouble managing that. Goddard's as well, the other end of that. Been exciting watching those guys get through the guys and ladies get through the hairpins here.
Yeah, I was going to say, these seem like they're very big, heavy machines, so I imagine it's tough to try and spot your braking zone, and especially when you're in the midst of traffic, to get it slowed up in time. It certainly seems to be the case from the number of guys we've seen go wide at these 2 hairpins, like you said.
Yeah, and there aren't really a lot of visual markers because there is so much space. There aren't a lot of trees, hitting those points, hitting your marks can be tough when you don't have a lot of points of reference to work with.
And we've got pit stops happening. Guys are going to take a gamble on taking tires. Christian Challoner is one of them, our leader. A number of cars stay out. This is going to be interesting with all the mixed strategies. Brian Howard is getting tires. Justin Krutoff is getting tires. Sergio Hernando. Most of our top drivers, interestingly. We did not see this at all, except for a gamble from Mika Eshouse at Brands Hatch. So it's interesting to see this many drivers come in. J.J. Rimmer took tires. Daniel Thompson as well getting tires.
Now there's a truck that cycles up to the front because of that quite frankly, I'd be a little concerned about the drivers behind, because Sky Willis was looking awful fast, and that truck seemed like it was hooked up. Now finds itself up at the front of the field. Sky could be hard to catch. Now we'll see how big of a difference those fresh tires make. It shouldn't take long to figure that out. Probably about a half a lap, Joe.
Absolutely, and our new order after those stops are Cockrell in the lead, Willis in second, Warren in third, Kapal fourth, and Finzak in fifth. A big shuffle up, and a reminder, we're only 9 laps in. When we get restarted, it'll be 10 laps out of a 25-lap race, so they have more than half the race to go. If those fresh tires pay dividends, they've got a long ways to make them work.
Now, Kapal restarting in fourth. Kapal was, let's face it, was driving that truck pretty hard, was sliding around a little bit, didn't get tires. That truck already, like I said, was sliding around pretty good. Got to imagine those tires got a bit of wear on them. Be interested to see how Kapal gets restarted here.
You were talking about Sky Willis. She qualified 13th. I believe she's the biggest mover right now, sitting in that 6th position. Or excuse me, no, 2nd position, actually. She was 6th at the line with drivers pitting, but obviously is moved up in the live timing.
Yeah, and like I said, she was hooked up, was starting to find her groove and hitting marks, and the truck was coming forward and leaving the rest of those trucks that she fought through to get past up behind, starting to catch the front pack.
Well, she was in the mid-pack before. Let's see what she can do at the top end of the field. Only going to be 2 more corners till we find out how these old tires fare. With all the drivers that we saw slipping around, I wonder if the fresh tire call is really going to pay off to be able to be more confident through some of these corners, especially getting the power down. Slow pace lap around here. About 45 miles an hour as Cockrell will lead the way and take the green. He goes just a little bit wide, I guess, trying to get himself a run. And Sky Willis tries to get a jump, but it backfires. Thankfully, doesn't lose too much ground as Clifton takes them down into Redgate. Behind them, a bit of a battle between Kapal and Warren. Oh, and Sky Willis, a move to the lead right away. Sky Willis takes P1.
Sky Willis not playing around here, Joe. All business today.
That was decisive if I ever saw a move for the lead. And it was on the exit of all places.
Told you that truck's hooked up right now. Sky off to a great start.
Whoa.
Gotta hang on to it. Gotta hang on to it.
Wow, getting all kinds of loose coming up to McLean's, but she manages to hold off Cockrell. He is not giving up hope to get back into that P1. The 27 truck is hounding Sky Willis. Here we ride on board, looking back in a big bobble from Clifton Cockrell. Gives some breathing space to Sky.
Okay, so the old tires get off to a good start. Break away quickly. There's Sky Willis starting to open it up. Heading down into Melbourne.
Behind them, that battle for third continues on. Ben Warren just managing to hold off Capal into the hairpin.
Capal almost making contact there with Warren.
The other thing you have to wonder about with Challoner taking those tires, he is now well back in the pack, which could mean more trouble if something happens in front of him. He's currently up to 10th. Right now he's working on Justin Davis. He's taking a look to the inside, and there's those new tires. Just clearly out braking him down into Redgate with no problem, and then out accelerating him as well.
Okay, Carl Martin, no tires, no pit stop. Let's see how close or how quickly Challoner is going to close here.
Every lap. Oh, a bit of a loose moment coming out of the old hairpin for Challoner, but it doesn't lose him too much time. But every lap that he's out on those tires, they are going to pay less and less dividends as the times start to equal out with all those around him. He closes up on the back of Martin, but not able to do anything with it. But we need to go to the lead because Sky Willis is having to go defensive from Clifton Cockrell down at the S's. Trying to hit that first apex, gets to the second apex, and she's safe by the bell as we've got a caution.
Yes, we do. Pete Costanzo around. I think Pete had a little bit of help there.
Let's see if we can see what happened to Pete. He's not been having a good day. This came through Compass once again, same place as last time, and almost a similar situation, except it looks like Pete got a little bit loose on entry, and he got tipped the rest of the way around by Justin Krutoff.
Yeah, Pete did start that by himself there. Gets a little bit too far over the curb into the dirt.
We're going to watch him one more time. He got a fantastic run, but just trying to execute once you get up there seems to be the hardest part of making that pass into Compass. Let's see if we can get an onboard of number 18. That'll be Brian Howard. In fact, was he involved with the last one as well?
Yeah, well, Krutoff actually in the 46 does a really good job of checking up, but the 18, Howard manages to get into the back of Krutoff on that checkup, doing a little bit of damage to Krutoff and a little bit of damage there on the front, left front there to the 18 of Brian Howard.
Yeah, and you can see the damage on the front of that orange machine. So Pete Costanzo looking a little bit more like George Costanza today, unfortunately. Hopefully he can get back in it. He still has 14 laps left in this race, so it is not over yet.
Man, I'm so glad you got that reference out there before I did.
I couldn't hold on to it long.
Send your emails to Joe Peak.
Well, our order on our second caution, Sky Willis in the lead, Clifton Cockrell in second, Ben Warren in third, Martin Capal in fourth, and Cedric Finzak in fifth. And I believe that's the order when they restarted after the first caution. So I don't think there's any change in the top five.
Actually, Sky Willis started second.
Oh, that's that the biggest change.
Yes, and made that daring move. I think Sky knew exactly what she was doing, made the move she wanted to make, and took advantage of it, and then gradually just began to pull away. Restart will be everything here, but I'm going to say it one more time. Sky Willis has got that 116 truck hooked up today. The Toyota Tundra is hot.
Racing for 49 Motorsports, a very familiar team here on GSRC. They've raced on lots of our broadcasts. In fact, our director's part of their team even. And the talent on that team goes deep and wide.
Yes, very deep. And they've had a busy weekend.
They attempted the 24 hours of the Nürburgring like many other teams did. Unfortunately, only made it about 2 hours in the top split, sadly. So not a good day for them over there. But you can't blame them too much with, as we said, just how tough it is to run around there. But today we're going to see how tough Skye Willis is now that she is going to lead the way. She's going to take the restart from P1. Can she keep Clifton from doing the same thing that she did to him? We've got a couple more pit stops happening, though, before we get to that. Ben Warren coming in. Same thing, Martin Kapal. We've got James King deciding that fresh tires are the way to go. Bart Workman. Josh Mertz is coming in. Looks like we've also got Doc Stout, Carl Martin, and Pete Costanzo, as well as Carson Aube. Oh, and Costanzo misses his pit stall. Has to back up and then move back forward even to get it in.
It was a real battle getting out of the pit lane, too. 3 wide coming across the stripe. Now that's going to cycle Challoner to 4th. So Challoner finding his way back to the front of the field. Your top 3, Skye Willis, Clifton Cockrell, and Cedric Finsack, not in the pit yet.
Now, what I'm curious to see is if Challoner manages to get back to the front and challenge Skye. Skye has been very feisty, to say the least, today. I think that is going to be an epic battle because I don't think she's going to give that up willingly.
Not at all. Very feisty today, and Challoner may have his work cut out for him if he can get to her.
So lights are off on the pace car. They're going to restart with 14 to go.
The difference in tires is 8 laps, Joe, between Challoner and the trucks in front of him.
Is that going to be enough to make a difference? Especially now that he's put some laps on them, worn them out just a little bit. They've all had a chance to cool them down now. And you may be able to attest to this a little better than I can, since I haven't put too many laps in the truck here, Sean. Do the pace laps help the tires at all? Does cooling them down, getting the heat out, give them a little bit of grip back, or does the grip just never come back?
No, I'd say with the temperature we've got today actually on the track and our ambient temperature here, I think you're actually going to get a little grip back here. And well, I think that last restart was pretty good proof of it. The trucks that didn't take tires actually got a pretty darn good start. So I think look to see that again. These front 3 will probably peel off pretty quickly. So will Challoner.
And I'm thinking Skye Willis is going to want to get the best jump possible to give herself a little bit of gap to these guys, get some clear air, not have to worry about any of the charging drivers who have fresher tires, such as Challoner, Davis, and Howard.
Kapal back there having trouble keeping the truck on the track during the pace lap.
Not a good sign if you can't keep it on the track at 45. All right, pace car comes around, ducks into the pit, and Skye Willis does not wait 1 second. She is gone. Clifton Cockrell trying to make chase, but nowhere near to make a pass down into Redgate behind them. Where is our championship leader, Challoner? Still in 4th, hasn't been able to get past the Frenchman Finsack.
Boy, Cockrell not giving up the fight on Skye Willis at all.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he was looking like he was going to make a charge, but ran out of track coming down into the old hairpin. He drops back just a little bit, and our top 4 are streaking away from the rest of the pack here on the first lap.
Joe, those old tires look pretty good to restart this race.
Absolutely, and clear air. Don't forget that she's got an empty track in front of her, which those guys behind her do not.
Yeah,
Challenger.
No, go ahead.
Challenger is very close behind Finzak, though. Closes in down into the S's, but he does not make a move yet. He doesn't seem to be in any kind of hurry. Looks like he's trying to make it out of the corner, which he does now, out of the S's. Looks to the inside. Finzak goes defensive, or is it a move? Down for second. We're going to go 3 wide into the hairpin. No contact. And up just a little bit of a touch, I think, between Finzak and Cockrell. Cockrell loses out the most. 2 positions down. That's going to move Challenger up to third now as well.
Sky Willis able to open it up just a little bit. Nice run out of Goddard's for Willis.
And that is
storming down into Red Gate.
That is exactly what she needed there. Those guys fighting and holding each other up just a little bit. Challenger now into the podium position, looking on Finzak. He's got 11 laps to go.
Oh, got a truck off course here. That was Aaron Stowe. Coming out of Red Gate, got really wide off into the grass. The number 99 Exide Batteries machine.
He had a terrible race last time, but we're back up to third position here with Challenger trying to take away P2. Gets himself a good run. This is where we've seen a lot of problems down in the Compass. Is he going to stick his nose in? No, he backs out. You got to give some credit to Finzak for managing to hold off Christian Challenger, who has just been the class of the field in every race so far this season.
J.J. Rimmer making a move. Gets by Justin Davis. Take it into the S's.
Oh, and we got to move for second. Challenger looking to the inside, down into Melbourne. Can he get it done clean? The tires smoking off of Sky's truck, and she's trying to get the acceleration down, but the truck is squirming. She's got the inside, trying to defend off Challenger. Challenger manages to outbrake her, but he's still around the outside. Can't quite get it done. Looks for the over-under. He's got a good run. Sky is not giving it up still. She holds the inside down to the Red Gate. Side by side they go into the first corner. Sky Willis trying to get the power down. Same thing with Challenger, but he gets it down that little bit better as they work their way downhill through crater curves. Move Christian Challenger up into P1.
Joe, the battle between Krutoff and Howard and Daniel Thompson has been real. Howard starting to win that battle just a bit, breaking away up to 7th. Krutoff been giving him the business, though.
He is right on top of him. Look at that train. Like you said, Thompson in there, Hernando in there, James King is in there. Any one of them makes a mistake, they're going to lose positions.
Krutoff streaming on Twitch right now. Falcon 140.
And here we see a move from Krutoff on Howard, but he backs into the line. Oh, and he goes very slow into the corner, which is going to give an opportunity to Thompson. Outbreaks him. I think that was a surprise. I don't think he meant to make a move there, but he makes it stick. Is he going to give it back, though? He's giving the inside to Krutoff, and Krutoff takes it back. So,
well, meanwhile, Challenger is starting to open it up now, 2.5 seconds in front of Sky Willis.
I was just about to say our order up at the top now is Challenger, Willis, Finzak, Cockrell, and Rimmer for your top 5. Worth pointing out, though, Sky Willis still about a second ahead of Cedric Finzak, so he is nowhere near challenging her at this moment.
Yeah, J.J. Rimmer ripping off some pretty good laps right now. Having a decent run.
He's trying to hold on to these top guys. He's got a good gap, almost 3 seconds back to 6.
Started in 11th, Joe.
Nice run from him. But still, it's Christian Challenger who who has recently overtaken the points lead in the championship and is looking like he has no intentions of giving it up.
No, the laps are just falling off here real quickly. Doesn't take very long to get around, about a minute and a half.
We got a battle for 7th. Howard on the outside, and Krutov making a dive down into Goddard's to the inside. He gets it done. Next up on his list is Davis.
Those two can't get away from each other right now. Expect to see Howard come back.
Undoubtedly. Meanwhile, Clifton Cockrell, I'm seeing, is under half a second behind Finzak. So even though Finzak has cut down the gap to about half a second to Willis, he might be under threat himself. We're going to see a battle for the final podium position if this keeps up. Cockrell looking very smooth in that number 27 around McLean's. Now they head up to Coppice, the blind right-hander. Once again, tucks it nice and neat into the apex. Doesn't get a good enough exit off, though, as he starts to lose time from the Frenchman.
Krutov just able to take away another spot. Gets by Justin Davis.
Rimmer almost got into the back of Cockrell. In fact, I think he might have gotten a cut course there as well, on top of it.
Came straight over the pylons. I wouldn't doubt if he did.
You can see just ahead of him that battle for 3rd and even 2nd now is back on. Cars accordioning together, trucks, excuse me, accordioning together in these slow corners. Willis able to stretch it out just that little bit down the front stretch. And we think something might have happened to Howard. Oh, he's in the pits. Now, has Howard taken a pit stop yet? Oh, and it looks like he's actually just taken his fast repair, gotten his car nice and spick and span. The Hawaiian Punch machine goes back out onto the track. And fortunately, doesn't seem to have gotten tires with that, though, as he smokes them coming through the corner. Oh, and we got a big accident happening in Coppice once again. Colin Martin involved in that. Ben Warren in that. Making contact. Kapal in there. Workman. And they're all mixed up now as they head down towards the S's. They're 2x2. You got to sort it out, boys. Oh, they're going to go. Oh, Kapal just completely blows the corner. That's going to be a huge slowdown penalty.
It certainly is. Lots of damage on the rear end of Carl Martin there.
Kapal loses 3 places, might even lose a 4th here. Oh, we got a truck almost off. Ben Warren getting greedy on the power, but manages to hold on to that 12th position. But now he is under threat as we've got cars diving in way wide. Oh, and there's contact.
Kapal off.
That was Costanzo who got into the side of him. Meanwhile, and the caution is out. I'm guessing that was caused by Costanzo and Kapal. And you can see
20.
You can see the mess that this caused, or that started with, at least. Paul, remember, had that slowdown, and it just got worse here as Costanzo had the inside, but unfortunately the brakes said that's a little too much and could not get him wound up.
Again, Kapal letting him do another one of the exciting moments of this race, Joe. But listen, we're going to get an old-fashioned shootout to finish this thing up today.
Now we've seen that Sky doesn't have the pace for Challenger, but if she could maybe make a sneaky start and attack in the first corner, she could have a chance at a win.
Going to be tough. Going to be tough to do it with no tires at all. Got to think with as hard as Sky has been challenging that there is probably some fall off starting to be experienced on that Toyota Tundra.
It should be noted, though, that she's been holding back Finzak pretty steadily. And I'm trying to see if Finzak has come in for tires. No, he's not.
Finzak has not. Finzak has not.
Other than our leader, highest pitter for tires, looks to be Rimmer, currently sitting in 5th. As, actually, did Sky Willis just go off course? A little bit of a whoops moment during the caution flag there.
That could have been a seat adjustment, anything. I think Sky's going to be just fine.
Yep, no dramas there, thankfully. So your order, up at the top, Christian Challenger back in the lead in the place we're accustomed to seeing him. Sky Willis in 2nd, Cedric Finzak 3rd, Clifton Cockrell 4th, and JJ Rimmer rounding out the top 5.
Krutov doing a pretty good job moving up to 6th. Justin Davis will restart 7th. Daniel Thompson 8th. Sergio Granando in 9th. And James King will round out the top 10 to get things restarted. And like I said, Joe, we'll have a bit of a shootout here to the finish.
James King getting on the radio saying that they need to pay the pace car driver a little bit better because he's going way too slow. They are creeping around here, I have to admit.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Mustang get around this track just a little bit better than that. Our director would probably have a little insight on that.
Lights are still on the pace car, so they're going to have at least one more. Which means we might actually get a 3-lap shootout, it looks like.
That's kind of what I was thinking when the caution came out. Is that might be exactly what we're looking at? Is 3 laps to get it done. Now, 3 very quick laps, Joe.
Yeah, really. Now, what are they going to do with Carson Aube? He is in 2nd in line, but he is last on the timing and scoring right now.
They're gonna have to wave him around, I would imagine, right?
We'll see if the stewards elect to do that. They do have live stewards in the series. If you're wondering how they managed to throw these cautions, they're watching out for any action out on track. And if anything they feel would merit a caution in real life, such as a lot of cars coming together, as we've seen, or a blockage on the track, they'll throw the caution here. I'm sure the oval drivers are grateful for the caution. Road drivers might not be as grateful. As did Sky Willis have another issue there? Oh, it looks like she was trying to.
Yeah, and here we go. Aube being waved around now.
There he goes. Yes. Willis was trying to sell everyone a dummy and fake going into the pits. I don't think 3 to go. Anybody's gonna be making that move.
Yeah, Sky having a little fun with everybody there. I don't think anybody was much fooled, but probably all got a chuckle out of it. You know, we keep talking about Sky Willis and Christian Challenger. Maybe that battle leaves a little opportunity for Cedric Finzak. We will see. Clifton Cockrell, there's another driver, hasn't been in the pits on those older tires. But Clifton has been awful aggressive, representing the great state of, I believe that's Texas there on that number 27 truck, and having a pretty darn good run. Clifton and Cedric Finzak could find themselves both at the top of the podium here. We'll see how this battle develops between Challenger and Willis here on the restart.
So to give you an idea of just how an international of a group this is, of our top 5, you've got a UK&I driver, Club France driver, a Texas driver, and another UK&I driver. So very international out there.
I'm a little partial to the Texas drivers, so being one myself. So yeah, good on him.
I'm a little outnumbered, unfortunately, in this broadcast on that one.
Yes, sir, you are. Not outclassed, though. Not outclassed.
Well, thank you. All right. We got 3 more corners, just the S's and 2 hairpins, and then we get our 3-lap shootout. Hopefully we're going to stay green all the way to the end. I'm not sure if they have special rules saying no cautions after X lap.
Abe running his fastest lap of the race right now, just trying to get back to the back of the field.
Yeah, he's booking it. I don't think they're going to catch him regardless, so I don't think they really need to wait for him to get up to the tail. So, hopefully, no caution, because if they have another, that should end the race. We want to see this thing go all the way to the checkers.
Sky's been awful aggressive. I like her chances.
Yeah, I'd like to see what she can do down in that first corner. If you're just joining us here on the Global Sim Racing channel, welcome to the Socks Out Racing V8 Supertrucks. You are in for a treat because we got a 3-lap shootout. Oh, and a big checkup behind Sky as Finzak tries to get a run, but it backfires on him. Sky isn't close enough to make a move down into the first corner, but we got a battle for P4 behind them.
Battle indeed, side by side, all the way through. Challenger starting to pull away, though. Not a great start by Sky.
Rimmer takes away P4 from Clifton Cockrell into Redgate. Behind them, still a bit of side-by-side racing. That's Krutov around the outside of Hernando. Oh, and we got a caution, and that should be the race. Sounds like that was Doc Stout.
Yeah, Doc having a little bit of trouble there.
And Costanzo was involved with that. Again, you can see on the replay. You know, that's a bit of a hard call because I don't think you can really say anyone it's too terribly at fault. You got a 3-lap shootout. Everybody's got high tension, and you go side by side through cratered curves, and it's very difficult to keep cars from getting into one another.
How about the move there by Martin Capal? Capal just missing all of that. No damage on the truck. Right in the middle of it, in the hornet's nest. Let's check it out on the replay. That was just incredible luck. And you need a little bit of it in racing, guys.
My father used to always say, I'd rather be lucky than good, and I bet Capal is thinking that now. In fact, he managed to keep it out of the grass on the outside. And
Being
there's
debated.
a lot of discussion on whether or not it's going to finish under caution. I'm pretty certain it's going to finish under caution.
Yeah, don't think there's anything they're going to be able to do about that at this point.
Well, you got to give some credit to J.J. Rimmer then, because he made the move at just the right time, got himself one more position before the end. Everybody else, however, ran out of time. They've got 2 laps to go, and they're going to get the white flag next time by, and the pace car, unfortunately, will not have time to peel off.
Well, I'll tell you what, my hat's off to Sky Willis. What an aggressive, I say aggressive, but a really determined, I think that's a better word to use, a determined drive by Sky Willis today. Gave it everything she had there on the restart, but just didn't quite have enough for Challenger. Challenger gets a pretty good jump there on the restart, and Sky just had a little bit too much work to do, and time ran out.
Yeah, a little bit of commentary from our director who says that moment when Sky Willis had a better weekend than the rest of the 49 Motorsports team. So, and I agree. I give a lot of credit to Sky. I want to say this is actually the highest finish we've seen for a female driver here on the Global Sim Racing channel. So we were hoping for maybe the first win for a female driver here on GSRC, but not going to be today. Still a moment to be proud of, I'm sure. couldn't quite outgun Christian Challoner, and that's a tough ask. Nothing to be ashamed of. Christian, once again, driving a brilliant race and really having to fight for it.
Yeah, the decision by Sky to stay out, not take those tires, get the position, and then the defining moment, I think, of Sky's race is the move she put on Clifton Cockrell to get by and take the lead, and really that just set up the rest of the race for Sky. Not much you can do when you're facing the likes of Christian Challoner. It was a good fight. It was a great fight, and I'm so happy I was here to witness that here at Old Donington Park.
And Challoner, too, really made his strategy work. That was brave of him. He must have done a little bit of research to see if he could make that pit stop work. Because remember, we saw the last round at Brands Hatch, Mika Eshouse was really the only top runner who came in. Sky Willis once again fakes for the pit for a second time. We saw that Mika really barely got back up to where he was before after making that stop. So for Christian Challoner to get slotted back, what was he, back in 11th place after that pit stop, and charge all the way back up to the front, he made really good on what was a difficult call.
Well, difficult call indeed. I mean, when that call was first made and they got restarted, it really didn't seem to be much of a difference. Now, as the race started to wear on, we saw, it was a big difference because Challoner was able to do things with that truck that, quite frankly, nobody else was able to do at that point. At least nobody else that hadn't taken tires. So, good on Christian. Great decision. Obviously paid off, and certainly gets the strategy move of the race, I think.
As you can see, white flag is now out. They're working their way past the old hairpin. Got about half a lap to go before the checkers fly. We're listening to the chatter between the drivers as Pete Costanzo apparently not terribly happy with Bart Workman asking for permission to give him a little love tap.
Give him the business. Believe it's been expressed there'll be none of that here today.
No,
that's a shame.
Yeah, they want to keep it clean even though it's under caution.
Yeah, it's a shame this one's got to run finish under caution.
Yeah,
because we really saw some great racing out here, Joe.
Absolutely, and I think you have to say that you credit Stephen Burbage. He just didn't know that that's how the cautions worked. I think if you're a road driver, you probably aren't as familiar with how it works out on the roadside. Or if you're a road driver and just don't understand how the cautions work in iRacing in general, because they are kind of weird on the roadside.
Yeah, they are, and you go back to that left target.
Yeah, not quite. And what I was saying before, because I realized it could have been misinterpreted, I want to give credit to Burbage because you can't blame him for making a call, which is something he had to make on the spot and doesn't always know all the information. He didn't know it would finish under caution, so he thought he was making the right call to keep more cars from getting involved in that accident. But no more cars are going to have any more accidents, hopefully, because it's one final corner for Christian Challoner to add to his tally of wins in a row here at Donington Park and increase his championship lead. Sky Willis is going to finish second. And Cedric Finzak, we haven't really talked about him that much, and what a great drive he's had to come home with a final podium spot. That is going to round out the race. We are going to take a short break, come back with driver interviews as well as the unofficial results, but stick around during the break because on the screen we're going to have our upcoming broadcasts here on the Global Sim Racing channel. So, thanks for joining us on iRacing Live, and don't go away. Welcome back to Donington Park, and man, what a race did we see in the Sox Out Racing V8 Supertrucks series. They always put on a good show for us, but today was something special, that's for sure. Christian Challenger won again, but the way he got there made it pretty exciting, I'd say. Sky Willis managed to finish second today. Great finish for her. Cedric Finzak rounding out the podium. A fantastic drive from the Frenchman. J.J. Rimmer with a late race pass to sneak into fourth. And then Clifton Cockrell, unfortunately, because of that pass, demoted down to fifth. Daniel Thompson comes home in the sixth position, with Justin Krutoff coming back up through the field to finish in seventh. Sergio Hernando took a pit stop about partway through the race. Unfortunately, didn't pay off, and he finished all the way down in eighth. James King came home in ninth, and rounding out the top 10, Sean, is going to be Aaron Stowe.
All right, let me take the back 10 here real quick for you. All right, 11th place, Ben Warren. 12th, going to go to Carl Martin. 13th, going to go to Brian Howard. Martin Kapal in 14th. Justin Davis, 15th today. Josh Mertz coming home 16th. Bart Workman, 17th. Pete Costanzo, 18th. Doc Stout, 19th. And Carson Abe does a pretty good job of hanging on and finishing this race. 20th place.
Well, this is usually the point at which we have post-race interviews with the podium, preferably, or any driver really that wants to come and talk to us. But we don't have anybody in here quite yet. So if you're watching and listening, please come and talk to us, especially to our podium finishers. We want to ask you guys how your race went. Before we get to that, in case anybody hops in, Sean, I wanted to ask you your thoughts about this race. We worried about the control of the trucks around some of the trickier acceleration zones. How do you feel that it went?
You know, actually, I think they did a really good job. I mean, we certainly had less cautions than Brands Hatch, and they got around here pretty good. We saw some great racing. I like the long. Say long, it's not a very big track, but the straightaway opportunities here are fun to watch. You see a little bit of that NASCAR style, Talladega, Daytona style drafting, if you will, and guys stepping out into the braking zone makes for some pretty entertaining racing. 3 wide and the hairpins is always fun to watch. Unfortunately, it rarely works out, but you know, a couple of times today we saw it. Everybody gets through clean and races on. That's always exciting.
Absolutely. And, as much as I criticize those 2 hairpins that they've added on for the GP course, they did put on some interesting moments. It's just I guess it comes down to there's certain types of tracks that are fun to watch racing on, and then there's certain types of tracks to actually race on. And sometimes that overlaps and sometimes they don't overlap. In this case, I'd say it was probably a lot more fun for us to watch than necessarily for them trying to get those trucks around those slow hairpins.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Joe, you talk about those added hairpins, and, well, I'm sure there was a great engineer that was responsible for those, and I appreciate those hairpins. So, certainly a designer of many great F1 tracks. So, anyway, I enjoy the hairpins here at Donington Park.
We won't get on that topic too much.
I was baiting you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, the only person that we have from the race right now is actually one of the marshals, and I'm waiting to see if we get a response, if he actually wants to come and talk to us, see what it's like from his perspective. We really so rarely get to talk to them. We do have, Aaron Stowe has popped in. He finished in the 10th position today, top 10 finish for Aaron. So let's try and pull him in to the ready for interview room, see if we can get him prepped and ready to go. See if he'd be willing to talk to us. There we go. We've got Aaron Stowe in the booth with us now. Aaron, you got a copy? It sounds like Aaron might not have his mic working quite yet. We'll give him a little bit of a chance. If he doesn't talk, we'll pop him back into the ready for interview room for a moment, because we actually do have 2 people in our Ready for Interview room. They're not drivers, but there are 2 marshals from today. So let's get their perspective, since we still haven't heard anything from Aaron quite yet. Let's pull both of them in. That's Nash Henry and Stephen Burbage, who are in here talking to us. And Nash having some breathing problems, it seems.
Yeah, I'm just getting over a cold, so don't mind me.
Okay. So we don't get to talk to marshals all that often. What's it like from you guys' perspective, having to call the yellows out there? What are you looking for before you throw the yellow flags out?
So a big thing for us is we don't want to penalize the safe drivers. So, I mean, all of us who've run on road know the frustration of there's a guy that spins, and it's like, well, do I let off, lose all this time of the guy ahead of him by playing it safe, or do I try to gamble and get through? And normally it makes us one single mess a larger mess, and we found that if we throw the caution for those type of situations, it rewards the safe driver. So you're not losing that time you would initially would have lost in a traditional sense. It keeps the battles closer, it keeps the racing closer, and also it keeps anybody from making a dirty move, because if you spin someone off too much, they're going to be able to catch back up and makes things rough for you. So it helps discourage that as well. It's a number of things that work with that.
Well, Sean and I have definitely been enjoying that. We cover one other series on the roadside that uses live marshals to throw cautions, and it always brings a little bit of a spark to the race with everybody being brought back together. And we can't thank you guys enough for all that you do behind the scenes to make these races happen.
Well, we're extremely thankful for the guys that run with us. They give us a lot of really good feedback and help us provide the best series that we can. So a lot of credit goes to them and their feedback.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've been working with Steve here for what, better part of the series. I forget, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. All the feedback we get, all helps.
And it's always great to hear that you guys listen and take into account what the drivers think of the series and what they think will help make it great racing. Once again, thank you. That was Nash Hendry and Stephen Burbage, our 2 marshals here in the V8 Supertrucks series. But we do have our winner that we are ready to talk to. We're going to at least talk to one of the podium finishers, Christian Challoner. Christian, it was an interesting call coming in for tires. Were you at all worried? Did you have Brands Hatch on your mind in the way that Mika Eshouse went in for tires and wasn't able to make up the ground? Did you think that it was a gamble, or you feel pretty certain about that call?
Yeah. Hey Joe. Yeah. I thought it was all right, because normally what I do is if we're about halfway through the race, I come in and pit. And I thought it'd be okay. I thought a lot more guys would come in, and then when I realized that I was, I think, one of 5 cars or something like that to pit, then I started getting worried when I could see so many people going past. And yeah, I started to think about how Mika had such a fight getting back through at Brands Hatch. So yeah, I was pretty worried. I was certainly a lot happier when on that second caution a lot more people came in for tires.
Yeah, our director was commenting during the race that he felt that was basically what helped gift you the win backs with your pace being so good. Sean, do you have any questions for Christian?
Well, actually I do, Christian, because we were talking about the differences at the start of the race from going to a front wheel drive machine, jumping out and getting into a truck. Is that a tough adjustment for you to make?
Oh yeah, because of the Kia yesterday. Kind of is, but it's actually it's a little bit strange because it's not as big a deal. Because both those cars, despite having drives at opposite ends, they're actually kind of similar on the brakes, because if you really bomb it into a corner, you just don't pull up in time in both. It probably only takes maybe about five laps or so to get back used to it. But yeah, it's actually not too dissimilar.
Well, so much for our theory of it being a big challenge, huh, there, Joe?
Yeah, really.
Well, the only challenge Christian had today was getting around Sky. How about the run from Sky Willis today? Really had a lot of fight for you out there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, actually. A big shout out to Sky for giving me room, actually, on the outside there. Yeah, that was it was nice to see Sky up at the front. I could see when I was coming back through that there was I think there was a sort of a train of 6 at the front. I was glad to see that Sky held on to second there at the end.
Yeah, I think we were as well. I know we're supposed to remain impartial, but I think we had a little bit of a soft spot wanting to see Sky get a good result here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Again, this is Christian Challenger that we were talking to, our winner here today in the most recent round in the Sox Out Racing V8 Super Trucks here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We have to close up today, unfortunately. We've gone just a little bit long, so we want to thank once again our live marshals, Nash Hendry and Stephen Burbage. And also thanks to the software and hardware that we use for our broadcast, and you can see those listed on your screen. Additional thanks to our musical contributors, Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, whose music you can also find at the websites listed. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjed, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and at /Global Sim Racing Channel for Facebook. Next race, as has been mentioned, is going to be at Bathurst, and man, that is going to be even more of a challenge in these trucks. That'll kick off on Sunday, June 19th at 2:45 p.m. Eastern. That'll be the finale. We also have upcoming races for other series on screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.